Picture this. It's a normal Tuesday. You're a weather host in Kansas City. A perfectly respectable career, honestly. Someone has to tell people it's going to rain. And then a bird flies through your window. Not a metaphor, a literal bird. Through your literal window. And I know what you're thinking. Cool, a sign from the universe. No, it is not a sign from the universe. It is the universe, or something that lives considerably outside it, installing malware directly into your central nervous system. Congratulations, Margaret. You've been selected. Nobody asked you.
Welcome back to the channel, beautiful people. Today we are deep diving into Spielberg's Disclosure Day, specifically into the lived experience of Margaret, weather host, unwilling cosmic antenna, and the single most inconvenienced human being in the entire science fiction genre of 2026. Now, on paper, and I mean the marketing paper, the glossy kind with Spielberg's name in big gold letters, this film is about wonder. About humanity finally making contact with something greater than itself. About our place in the stars. And sure it is. It is also, if you pay attention, a 2-hour and 17-minute case study in what happens when an alien civilization decides that your body is a better piece of communications hardware than whatever they've got at home. Which raises the very obvious question: what kind of interstellar species, with the apparent ability to travel across galaxies, looks at a human larynx and thinks, yeah, that'll do. Apparently, ours. So strap in. We are going section by section through the complete and total dismantling of Margaret's existence, from her vocal cords to her childhood memories, to her fundamental understanding of why she even exists at all. This is the Almanac of Suffering. And today's entry is Project Inventory 1996.
Let's start with the most immediately relatable horror: losing control of your own voice. Margaret is live on air. Live as in broadcasting to the entire Kansas City metropolitan area when she opens her mouth to give the 5-day forecast and instead produces a sequence of clicks, pops, and tonal patterns that no human larynx was ever designed to generate. Think about that for a second. You have trained for this job. You have a nice blazer, someone did your hair, and now you are standing in front of a green screen making sounds like a hard drive that has accepted its fate. Now, the film frames this as the beginning of something profound. And technically, yes, it is the beginning of something. That something is Margaret becoming a biological transceiver for an alien language that operates on frequencies the human vocal tract can only approximate through what appears to be considerable physical distress. Emily Blunt, who plays Margaret, actually trained to produce these sounds in camera. No digital manipulation, just a genuinely talented actress spending weeks learning to click and pop on command for the noble purpose of capturing what it looks like when a person's speech center gets hijacked by something from beyond the observable universe. The dedication is extraordinary. The situation for Margaret is not.
Because here's the thing nobody mentions in the trailer. It hurts. The film is careful to show that these sounds don't come easily. Margaret's face during these moments is not the face of someone experiencing spiritual transcendence. It is the face of someone whose body is being asked to do something it was structurally never built for, like asking a calculator to run a video game. And if the vocal cord situation weren't enough, and believe me, it is enough, let's talk about the telepathy, which again sounds like a superpower. It is not a superpower. It is sensory waterboarding. Margaret doesn't hear thoughts. She is flooded by them. Every person within range is broadcasting their entire interior monologue directly into her nervous system with no volume control, no filter, and absolutely no opt-out mechanism. You know that feeling when you're trying to concentrate and someone nearby is playing music you hate at medium volume? Now multiply that by every person in a grocery store. Now make it emotions too, now make it permanent. She is no longer the protagonist of her own life. She is a passenger. Her body is running someone else's errands, and she has been politely, or rather, not politely at all, moved to the back seat. Okay, breathe. It gets worse. The centerpiece revelation of Disclosure Day is the twist that Margaret and Daniel, our two leads, our star-crossed whatever they are, were not chosen randomly. They were not special in any romantic, destiny-shaped sense of the word. They were selected in 1996 as children during an abduction that neither of them consciously remembers, and outfitted with what the film calls, and I love this, pre-installed competencies. Margaret's exceptional gift for language? Not a gift. Software. Daniel's mathematical genius, the kind that makes him uniquely capable of communicating with a species that apparently thinks in equations? Also software. Preloaded. Factory settings. Their entire sense of identity, the thing that made them feel like themselves, the aptitude, the passion, the feeling that this is just who I am, is a feature set chosen by something that categorizes them the same way you categorize a tool based on what it can do.
And the connection between them, which the film spends considerable time developing as something meaningful, something that feels earned, is in the end just a shared inventory number. They didn't find each other because of fate or chemistry or the narrative logic of a Spielberg film. They found each other because they were in the same shipment. The aliens in this universe, the film reveals, approach humans the way we approach livestock. They take animal forms specifically to avoid triggering a fear response. Because apparently, even a civilization capable of interstellar travel understands that you catch more flies with honey. Or in this case, with the shape of a bird that flies through your window and infects you with alien firmware. They are not cruel, exactly. They're just completely indifferent to the difference between a person and a piece of equipment, which is somehow worse. You can be angry at cruelty. Indifference just leaves you standing there with nowhere to direct the feeling.
Now, into this already chaotic situation, we introduce Wardex. Wardex is the shadowy government-adjacent organization that has been aware of alien presence for decades, has been conducting what the film euphemistically calls advanced research on alien bodies and biological specimens, and is led by Noah, played by Colin Firth because of course he is, because the British accent has been doing heavy lifting in the sophisticated menace department since the dawn of cinema. Think of Wardex as the bureaucratic layer between humanity and the truth. The people who decided decades ago that the public couldn't handle this information and then spent 40 years making absolutely certain they were right by suppressing everything that might have let people handle it. To Noah, Margaret is not a person. She is a high-value biological asset with an active alien interface, which in Wardex terminology means she is simultaneously extremely useful and extremely dangerous, which means she needs to be acquired, contained, and studied in a facility that I promise you does not have a window.
Their methods are exactly as unpleasant as you'd expect from an organization that has been operating without oversight since the Eisenhower administration. Specifically, they can deploy technology that hacks your telepathy against you, forcing you to experience vivid hallucinations of dead loved ones until you're too emotionally shattered to resist giving up your location. It is, and I want to be precise here, psychological waterboarding dressed up in science fiction terminology. Margaret can fight back. She can push the hallucinations back at the Wardex operatives, turn their weapon against them, which sounds badass. And for about 30 seconds, it is badass. And then the film makes the very honest decision to show you what it actually costs to weaponize grief, which is everything. By the third act, she is running on fumes, trauma, and whatever the alien equivalent of spite is. The frustrating and genuinely intelligent thing about Noah is that he isn't entirely wrong. Humanity wasn't ready. The film earns this ambiguity honestly, even while making sure you understand that being right about something and being a decent human being about it are not the same thing.
And so we arrive at the end. Disclosure Day arrives. The truth goes global. Every screen on the planet shows the same thing. Archive footage of alien bodies, creatures in cages, evidence of decades of contact that governments decided you weren't allowed to know about. The film handles this beautifully and brutally. Jane, the deeply religious character whose faith has been the emotional through line of the story, watches footage of a charred alien corpse and doesn't say anything for a very long time. Her belief system, the architecture of meaning she's built her entire life around, quietly stops being structurally sound. The film calls this a moment of global awakening. The more accurate term is mass ideological restructuring. 7 billion people are updating their understanding of reality in real time, with no preparation, no context, and no one in charge who actually knows what to do next. And then the alien, the living one, the one that's been there the whole time, whispers something to Daniel. And Margaret, because she is the transceiver, because this is what she was built for, broadcasts it.
And the message is not, "You are not alone." It is not, "We come in peace." It is not even, "Sorry about the whole 1996 thing." The message is a declaration, a statement of terms, a user agreement. One that humanity, it turns out, already signed. Encoded in the DNA of every person on the planet, without being asked, without being told, without a single checkbox to uncheck. You agreed. You just didn't read the fine print. Nobody does. Margaret broadcasts this message, and then she is done. The function has been performed. The tool has completed its task. She is left standing in a world that has officially crossed a threshold it cannot walk back from, holding the knowledge of exactly what she is and exactly what she was for, with no instruction manual for what comes next. The film ends there. It doesn't tell you what happens to Margaret after the credits roll. It doesn't have to. The question it leaves you with is worse than any answer it could provide.
So, Disclosure Day. Technically, a masterpiece of direction. Emily Blunt giving the performance of her career through sounds that should not be possible. Colin Firth doing what Colin Firth does, which is making you slightly terrified of cardigans. Spielberg making you look at the sky and feel considerably less comfortable about what might be looking back. Is it fun? Well, occasionally. Is it hopeful? In the same way that learning your house is on a fault line is hopeful. Technically, you're more informed now, so that's something. The CGI animals do occasionally wander into Uncanny Valley territory, and there is a sequence in Act 2 where the pacing falls apart like a piece of IKEA furniture you assembled with the wrong screws. But these are minor complaints in a film that is, overall, asking genuinely uncomfortable questions about identity, agency, and what contact actually means when one party never really needed your consent. Margaret didn't ask to be a cosmic router. She asked for a normal Tuesday. She did not get a normal Tuesday. Guard your mind. And maybe close your windows. Subscribe if you want to find out why it sucks to be a Witcher or exactly how long you'd survive in every Fallout vault. I'll see you in the next one.